Okay, great. Well, let's jump in. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to have you all here today for our webinar on THE and GUA. We're very excited to have you. I'm just going to kick off by introducing THE student because some of you may know who we are, some of you may be new. We'll talk about its purpose, the collaboration with GUA, and then kind of the opportunities that you guys can have as students with us as well. And then I'll pass you to my lovely colleagues in the GUA team to tell you about this year's summit. So, THE student, it stands for Times Higher Education Student. It's earned its reputation as a beacon of insight, news, and rankings on universities worldwide. We get 30 million annual website visitors. It's a go-to resource for anyone trying to figure out where they want to go for higher education, if they've got any major questions. And what's really great with THE student is we love to work with actual students. So you get the chance to write for us or do social media with us because we like to go straight to the source, and you guys are the ones in higher education at the moment or getting to higher education. So what we do at THE student, we like to help students with all the questions that they have about studying abroad, going to university. So it could be anything from how to get your visa for a certain country, all the way up to how can I find housing or a part-time job while I'm on campus. So there's lots of different things that we cover, but we also combine a lot of our rankings. We've got expert content and supportive resources that are there to help you make your decisions throughout the process, all the way from deciding whether you want to go to university to actually getting there and graduating. So we like to provide all the information for you to help you prepare for that university life and that next step, which is very exciting. We offer various rankings as well. So these are the ways that we evaluate universities worldwide. So the biggest one you might heard of is World University Rankings. This is where we look at all the overall performance across all the research. So this includes everything from teaching, industry engagement, international outlook. We also then break them down into subject specific. So anything from best universities for medicine, best universities for a history degree, we cover all of those. We then also do the impact rankings, and these are based on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are everything from green, water use, all of those very important ones for those of us that want sustainability and we want our universities be making a good impact on just the world we're in at the moment, which is great. We also do teaching rankings, which work on kind of the excellence from teaching and student engagement, that relationship between your professors and yourself. And then we break other rankings down as well. So we look at universities in the Arab area, Latin America, Asia, so that you can, as a student, go in and really zone in. If you already have an area that you're interested in studying abroad in, we then help you figure those different universities out and how they stand in those areas. So we like to work with a lot of different collab partners, and this webinar, as you know, is about the Global Undergraduate Awards. So we work hand in hand with sector advisors to get information from students, support student involvement, student experience. And just like the GUA, we like to empower students to recognize their impact on the world and affect real change. So it's all about connecting, making new connections, celebrating your passion, your field, and why you love what you're studying. So when it breaks down to what you can actually do with us, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So you can showcase your expertise or gain visibility by writing about what you're studying. This, when you come to GUA, could be about what you're submitting as your paper, which is very exciting, and Caroline will explain that later. You can also contribute to guidance or connect with your community. So write about experiences that you've had that maybe are individual to you, and you may have struggled with something and you want to give some advice to future students. We'd love to hear things like that. You can also explore topics that are important to you. Could be welfare, could be housing. You can inspire your peers, build your own confidence in your CV as well. It's not a case of you just writing and us leaving you to it. You will work with myself and our editor to make sure the piece is perfect and ready to go. So you can kind of promote your diversity, inclusion, create your lasting legacy. Lots of opportunities for you to try out. And then it's not a case of you write once and then leave. We love to maintain relationships with everyone. We also give you a freedom to write about lots of different things, including career advice. We go from graduate information We also have graduate employability information as well. So if you're getting to the end of your university experience, we can help you with that next step too. And then our final info really is that our social platforms are huge. We have TikTok, Instagram, we use Facebook, we use Twitter, X, whatever you refer to it now. And you can basically write about anything. As long as you let us know the idea, we're happy to talk to you about what we could do with that. The pieces aren't that long either. 600 to 800 words is pretty low if you're writing big pieces for uni. So it's a nice, compact way, written in a friendly tone, and it's all for your idea. So it's the topics that you want to share. We also then provide a professional byline, so you can add your bio, your pick, and that's great for sharing on LinkedIn or on your CV. And it's a nice way to start building up that CV as you're leaving uni. As I said before, we cover a lot of things. Our main areas are how to study abroad, how to apply, before you go, could be everything from visas to getting housing. Student life is a lot what we hear from you guys. So it will be blogs of what you're going through at the time of university. We look at scholarships, graduate opportunities, and career advice. And as I said, we're always open to hear from you. So this year we are going to be present at the summit. It's a really great chance for you to come up and speak to it. It will be myself. Oh, and I forgot to say my name's Grace. Sorry, I'm the content writer for TAT. And you can come and speak to me throughout the summit about what you're studying, what you're writing about, and just kind of build that relationship and see what we can work together. So thank you for listening about TAT. I'm going to pass you on to kind of the big exciting moment now, which is the GUA itself. So Caroline and Neve are my two colleagues from the GUA, and they're going to tell us all about what the summit involves, how to get involved, and what we can do with you. So thanks for listening.
Okay, thank you for that, Grace. So I'm going to now share my screen and begin the presentation about the Global Undergraduate Awards, what we can do for you, and how you can get involved. Okay, give me a thumbs up if we can see that. Perfect. Okay, so Neve, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm Neve and I'm the program executive for the GUA. So I do all the social media management, and then I also work with the comms team during our submission drive, and then I plan a lot of the summit as well.
Great, thanks. So we're gonna have a portion, we're gonna have time for questions in the middle and then again at the end. But you can also raise your hand in the chat or maybe ask them in the chat. Or later you can email Neve, info@undergraduateawards.com. She will be answering all your emails, so please be nice to her. She's a very nice person. And then I am Caroline, so I'll be leading today's presentation. I'm the development manager here at the Global Undergraduate Awards. And for those of you who don't know what that is, buckle up, we're about to get started. If it goes. Okay, so what are the Global Undergraduate Awards? So each year, about 5,000 students from around the world submit their undergraduate research to our program. There are 25 categories, so we cover everything from English, history, the humanities, things like that, but then we also have computer science, engineering, life sciences, medical sciences, even the STEM categories. So no matter what your discipline is, there should be a category for you to submit to. And then that work that you submit, your research papers, your essays, those are reviewed by 600 judges. So our judges are academics from all around the world who volunteer in our program. They read all 5,000 entries, they score them, they scrutinize them. It's a 3-month-long judging process. And then they are the ones who pick the winners. It goes through 4 stages. And again, they read every single entry and they pick the winners. The best part about our program, what we really think distinguishes us from other programs is, well, first of all, the global aspect, because you can be from anywhere in the world and participate. Also the broad discipline that are accepted. So like I said, 25 categories from STEM and humanities. So really it's not restricted to any field in particular. And then most importantly, we have a fully blind judging process. So when those 600 judges are reading your entries, they do not know your name, the university you went to, your country of origin, your gender, any identifying information. So your work is being judged on quality alone. It doesn't matter if you go to Harvard, if you go to some school we've never heard of, the judges are looking at all of you the exact same, and everyone has an equal opportunity. So for example, last year or 2 years ago, this was 2022, our global winners, which I'll go over that in a second, that's the highest award you can get in our program. There was one from the Ivy League Brown University, which I'm sure you've all heard of. It's ranked in the top 10 globally. And then we also had a student winner from Bangladesh. So you can, like I said, be from anywhere, from any school. It does not matter. Everyone is on the same playing field. And I think that's what really draws students to our program. So like I said, you might be asking yourself, what is a global winner? So you participate in our program and you are selected as a winner, there are 3 types of winners. So out of the 5,000 people who enter the program, no matter how many enter, it could be 5,000, 10,000, whatever, the top 7% in each category are highly commended entrants. So that's the judges will shortlist as they go through the process. The top 7%, that's the highly commended entrants, and that's top 7% in each category. So remember, there's 25 categories. And then the regional winners, so they look at that highly commended entrants, the top 7%, and they pick the best one in each category in your region. So that means if you're from USA and Canada, you're in that region and you're the best highly commended entrant from the USA and Canada in computer science, or the best highly commended entrant from Asia in English literature. And then the global winners. So that's the top award. That's the single best entrant in each category globally. So again, they're looking at that short list of highly commended entrants, the top 7% in each category, and they pick the one best, regardless of region. So there are 25 global winners each year. But the number of highly commended entrants, that could vary depending on how many people enter the program. And what you're all entitled to, as whether you're highly commended entrant, regional winner, or global winner, you will all get a certificate of recognition. So this is sealed, this is watermarked, cannot be replicated. Only winners in our program get these certificates. We will also publish your work in our online journal. This is incredible because if you're applying to graduate programs, being published takes you from a tier 4 applicant all the way to a tier 2, maybe even tier 1. So this is really critical because as an undergraduate, you really don't have any other opportunities to be published. At least, you might have some within your university, but I think this is the one, no matter where you go, this is accessible to you if you have the quality of work that we're looking for. Our journal is online if you'd like to go look at past winners. But again, like I said, if you can be published, that's a really big deal at the undergraduate level. Most people aren't published until at least master's, and definitely not PhD. You also get access to our global alumni network. This is exclusive if you're a top 7% in your field globally. You are basically connecting with others who are top 7% in your field globally. So that's an incredible networking opportunity. If you maintain these connections, you're maintaining connections with people who will run startups, people who will be going to Harvard and getting, Rhodes scholarships. It's just an incredible, you're only getting the creme de la creme of your field. So that's really what we can offer as well for our alumni. And then most exciting, in my opinion, is if you're a winner in our program, you are invited to our Global Summit in Dublin. So the Global Summit, that's what we call our conference for undergraduate students. And we will talk more about this later. Grace was present at this past year's Global Summit. It is the highlight of our year at our organization, and it's the highlight of a lot of these students' undergraduate careers. Again, like having your work published, the chance to come to our summit, I think, is really rare at the undergraduate level. That's not something you usually get until the graduate level. So this week is full of social events and activities. In previous years, we've gone to tours and tastings at Jameson Whiskey Distillery. Also, Teeling's Whiskey was this past year. We have other social events, other like guided tours of Dublin City, welcome events at pubs around town. There was also a brunch at the Irish Architectural Archive, so that was interesting. We have workshops, seminars, and panels. Those are led by our judges, those academics from around the world. They're experts in their field. They'll be leading workshops on CV writing, diplomatic communication, seminars on, grad school preparedness, things like that. And then keynotes also from renowned speakers. That's really the highlight. We'll have this past year, we had the first Black politician in Ireland was one of our speakers. We had some mental health advocates slash comedians. That was really fun. But all in all, students really, what they take away from the week is it's just a life-changing experience. It gives you the opportunity to connect with others in your field, to network, to have fun also. I think it's really just a really great week. It's pretty busy, but it's fun. And then really you also get to present your research and receive your award in person if you're able to come. So again, presenting your research at a conference, not something that's common at the undergraduate level, and then receiving your award in person. So we can send you your award if you can't make the summit, but we have award ceremony where you can receive it in person, whether you're highly commended or regional winner or global winner. But the real kicker, if you're a global winner, is that you get a gold medal to go with your award. So it will be a gold medal with your name on it and the category that you won. It's presented to you on stage by someone from the Irish government, which is very exciting. And this is at the gala dinner, which is really the highlight of the event. It's black tie, so tuxedos, long gowns. We serve a 5-course gourmet meal. And like I said, someone from the Irish government will be giving you your gold medal on stage in front of your colleagues and family if they're able to come as well. And highly commended entrants, they are honored in a different ceremony with their certificates, but they also get to present their work. We have breakout sessions where they can present. But the real difference between global winners and highly commended entrants is that global winners get a gold medal as well as a certificate of recognition, and they get to present their work one by one on stage with everyone in attendance listening, whereas highly commended are presenting in breakout sessions to whoever may be registered for those. Another really big draw for people is global winners. Not only are you invited to attend the summit like your highly commended entrants and your regional winners, but we will pay for your tickets, like your flights from wherever in the world, Singapore, Australia, America, wherever in Europe. We will fly you from your university to Dublin and back, and we will also pay for your hotel throughout the week of the summit. So hotel, flights, food, your meals are covered, everything like that. So you really won't have to spend anything if you don't have the means to do so. You can obviously extend your stay if you want to stay in Dublin longer, but if you can't afford to do that, we will pay for you to at least be present for the days of the summit. And then you can see here in the photo the gold medal that you get as well with your award. Then just a little added bonus on top, our global winners are featured in all sorts of media, locally, within their own countries, within Ireland, and then also internationally. We've had students appear on national media. Our global winner from Bangladesh 2 years ago, she did a complete press circuit. She was on all of the Bangladesh like morning talk shows, being honored and recognized. She was a keynote speaker at her alma mater's graduation ceremony. Other people are featured in print and digital news articles. That's really common. If you win this award, you will be featured in your local newspaper within your own country. That's a given almost. Photos in Irish media, that's also a given. We always advertise in Irish media. Podcast interviews, that's been really something that's happened more in recent years, is that winning students are invited to talk on podcasts, not only about the experience, but because they win the award in our program, they're seen as now an expert in that field. So say, for example, one of our winners in visual arts, she had an exhibit on the locations of sexual violence. She had like a photography exhibit, and she was invited to talk on podcasts about how she crafted that piece, what she learned from it, what sort of data she used, etc. So again, you're very high profile in some circuits after you win this award. And then we also had students recognized by the BBC. That was actually the same one who was on the podcast. So being on the BBC, that's a really big opportunity. That's something that people are going to see in the UK and beyond. So, are you next? Before I go into the how you can get involved, so I've just gone over what we can give you if you get involved, why you should get involved. And I hope that I've convinced you all that you should. But before I go into the specifics of how exactly you can go about that, which is very easy, I just want to see if, first of all, we have any questions that we can answer just at this point, just about our program. Again, how to enter, I'll go over that in the next half of this presentation. And then I would also invite Grace and Neve to maybe, if you have anything to add about the experience at the Global Summit. Was it exciting? Was it fun? Was it worthwhile? What did you like about it? Would you recommend it? I'm sure you would, but feel free to share now. Not all at once.
Yes. Sorry, I was on mute. But yeah, like for me, the summit was it's magical in a way because you get to see all these students from so many different backgrounds, culturally, academically. You get to watch them build the connections that hopefully they'll keep for the next 10, 20, 30 years into the rest of their career. So that was one of the amazing things about it, along with all the great fun we have, especially at our evening events like Teetings. There's always a great buzz. Same with the gala dinner. Everyone's running around getting their photos in the big fancy building. It's the Law Society in Ireland. It's beautiful. So yeah, for me, it was just magical watching those people come together, get to share their work with people from different academic backgrounds.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Meeting all the different people there was so much fun. And the moment that you walk in on the kind of awards night is very kind of a big deal. I got a double door entrance and everyone's in kind of black tie. And if you are into Harry Potter, all the, there's big long tables and everyone's sitting and it's a really nice night. And I have to say that I was obviously there for work. I was there to represent THE student and chat to all the kind of winners and highly recommended. But I also just made so many contacts with people that are now on my LinkedIn, and we kind of regularly chat about what they're working on. There's also so much opportunity to come back. So I met Maggie, I can't remember her last name, Neve, you might remember. She was one of our judges last year, and she was such a good judge because she had actually been a winner the year before or the year before that, I think. So she had gone through the process of kind of entering and writing a piece, and she was really good and she won, and she had such a good time that she came back as a judge because she knew kind of what everyone was looking for because she was in that position. And then she came in and she wrote for us, nothing to do with the GUA. She then wrote about how to write a research piece for us because that was kind of what she ended up entering for the GUA. So she kind of had that expertise. So it was just really fun to meet a lot of people and hear about what they're doing as well. As Caroline said, it's the cream of the crop. So sometimes when you're at uni and you're all studying kind of under the same professor, you do sometimes end up having similar projects or similar topics that you want to cover. But when you meet people from universities all over, everyone's going to be covering something different. So one of our winners, Tombo, he was an engineering undergrad, and he invented a way of engineering a new water system for his home in Johannesburg. It was such an amazing thing to hear about. So even just sitting and listening to the other winners present is such a big opportunity as well. So beyond the big fancy black tie night, which of course everyone loves, it's the main event, but you then have lots of, webinars and, not webinars, seminars. You get to meet all the speakers, you get to hang out for 3 days. And there's tours around Dublin as well, which is always fun. So you get to see a lot and you get to hang out with these people and just make friends for life. I feel like it's a really big event and it's really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to add, like Maggie, we actually have a lot of our past winners that stay on as judges. They stay on through their masters to help us promote the awards. Like a lot of people have stayed really close to the awards just because of the experience they've had. I mean, the economics winner in 2022, Victor, is also a judge. And he has a really successful podcast. He went on to work at 10 Dowling Street in London. He also, I think, recently got his master's from Cambridge as well. So yeah, a lot of our students end up staying close to us.
Yeah, and I see the questions are popping up. over here, and I can answer some of them with the second half of the presentation. So I'm gonna crack on with that, and then we can come back to just kind of talking about the summit generally and the vibe. But first I want to go over how you can go about getting involved in the program. But before I do that real quick, 2 of you asked, can you get a visa for this program? Yes, if you're chosen as a highly commended entrant, a regional winner, or a global winner, you can get a visa to come to the summit. If you're selected, we will email you and notify you, hey, you're a winner, you can come to the summit. And we will say in that email, if you want to come, you need to apply for a visa today, because there's about 8 weeks, maybe a little bit more, between when you find out you're a winner and when the summit happens. And you really need to move fast to get that visa. If you're from a country that requires a visa to come to Ireland, we will send you links about how to do that. We can't do the process for you, but we don't have any issue with our attendees getting visas as long as they apply as soon as they get the email from us that they need to apply for a visa. If you wait a few weeks, you might not have it in time and you might not be able to come. But if you act fast, our students typically get visas to come for the few days of the summit. You can't stay, they don't give you like full, they're just tourist visas. It might even be a conference visa. So it's just for the week, but yes, you can get a visa. And then a few other people, like I said, asked, how can I submit? Am I eligible? Well, we're gonna go over that right now. Nope. Okay. How can you get involved? Can you be involved if you're a high school student? No. Can you be involved if you're in a master's program? Maybe, but you can only submit work from your undergraduate course. So if you're a student enrolled at university in an undergraduate course, you have to have graduated either within the past year. So if you graduated in 2023, you're eligible, or if you expect to graduate this year, 2024, or in 2025. So if you're in a master's program, you graduated in 2023, you are eligible to submit this year, but only if you submit your undergraduate coursework. You cannot submit anything that you've done as part of your graduate coursework. So only undergraduate coursework. That's why we're the Global Undergraduate Awards. And you're eligible, not if it's your first year, no, you have to be either expected graduation date in 2024 or 2025, or you had to have graduated in 2023. That's also on our website. But I just want to be really clear about that. I don't think that's too confusing, but someone flag it if so. What work can you submit? Only English language research, because it's a global program and we have judges from around the world participating. This is just the way we have to keep it standardized. So you can submit from anywhere in the world, but the work you submit has to be in English. It is coursework that you received a grade A or equivalent. We don't want coursework that if your professor doesn't think it was deserving of an A, you're probably not in the top 7% globally. And, our judges, their time is valuable. So we make that a requirement upon entering. The work that you submit has to have a grade A or equivalent. If you go on our website, undergraduateawards.com, we have conversions for different countries and different grading scales. What do we consider equivalent to a grade A? Your work cannot already be published as well. That's for 2 reasons. For one, we're going to publish your work if you win. So we don't really want any copyright issues, but more importantly, this is all anonymous. So if they Google your work, they don't want to see it pop up online and say, oh, that's from Caroline Schroeder and she went to Trinity College Dublin. That ruins the anonymity of the process, right? So cannot already be published, which probably isn't a big issue for a lot of you. And then group projects are eligible. So if you did a group engineering project, which is really common for a lot of engineering degrees, you can submit that. So for certain categories, we do allow group work. The requirements will change depending on categories. This is all on our website, but this is just to give you an overview of what work is eligible. So here I've listed the categories that are eligible for group work: architecture and design, chemical and pharmaceutical sciences, etc. And in this case, group work can have a maximum of 5 contributors, so no more than 5 people can be on this project with you. Everyone in your group must meet eligibility requirements. So they all must be full-time students enrolled in an undergraduate program with an expected graduation date of 2024, 2025, or had graduated in 2023. And only one contributor enters the work. So only one person in your group needs to register on Undergraduate Awards website and submit the work, but then they have to list the other people on the project. So you don't all all 5 of you submit the entry 5 times. Just one of you submits it and lists the others, and we'll have everyone's email address, everyone's name. So if your group work is chosen as a winner, you will all be getting certificates and being recognized on the website and having your work published, etc. I encourage you all to go to the website and really fully read those requirements, though, because depending on which category you submit to, there are different requirements. General rule, though, every submission, you're going to have to write an abstract. So I know some people, they don't write an abstract typically for their papers. I'll go over that in a second, but your abstract will be 250 to 500 words. So minimum 250, maximum 500. If you have less than 250 words or you have more than 500 in your abstract, you're going to be disqualified just on that. You need to anonymize your entry. I'm going to go over that in more detail as well, because that's probably what most people mess up. They get the word count correct on the abstract, they get the word count correct on their paper, but most people mess up anonymizing their entry, I would say. And then check your word count. So again, go to the website. The body of the work that you submit will have a minimum word count and a maximum, just like the abstract, and it's going to differ based on which category you're submitting to. So I think, say, literature, history, political science, pretty sure those are all minimum 2,500 words, maximum 5,000 words. If you have less than 2,500 words, you're disqualified. If you have more than 5,000 words, you're disqualified. It might seem arbitrary, but again, if we have 5,000 students submitting, the judges don't have time to be reading papers that are 10,000 words, even though, maybe some of you have written some that long. But say for a typical term paper, I think 2,500 to 5,000 is pretty standard. I mean, you can hit 5 pages double space. I'm pretty sure that's close to the word count. So I'm going to go over an example just to show you what most people get disqualified for, what most people don't realize when they submit. So here's a paper I did, and I'm now realizing I should have changed the year because now I'm really old. It's from 2019 when I was an undergraduate, and this paper would be disqualified for about 1 million reasons, but I'm going to go over the first. So many students, they have their university logo on the cover sheet. Automatic disqualification. We do not want to know what university you went to. That ruins the anonymity. Because then again, if someone from Harvard enters, the judge might be biased and say, well, like, oh, of course it's Harvard. This paper is going to be good. No, we don't want that. We want it to be anonymous because everyone gets a fair chance. So straight away, the logo, I'd be disqualified for that. Another problem, I put my professor's name, see on that cover sheet, Dr. Sumner's, and I put my course code. Course code's tricky. I would get rid of that because sometimes your course code gives you away. If I Google your course code and your university and your professor comes up in the Google search results, that ruins the anonymity. So get rid of your professor's name, get rid of the course code, get rid of your name. See, my name's on it. Don't do that. Get rid of the logo, check for all of that. These are like glaringly obvious issues that are pretty easy to fix. Something that trips up people a little bit more is footnotes. So in this paper, I listed as a citation a lecture that my professor gave. If you list your professor in the footnotes because you used something that they published, that's fine. Anyone could be citing them. If you cited your professor's lecture, or if you cited any professor from your university's lecture, that's going to give away your anonymity. So what we recommend you do if you cite a lecture, delete that, delete your professor's name, delete the university's name, and just put, redacted for reasons of anonymity, like say lecture citation redacted, so that then the people reading your work know you didn't fail to cite your source, you just couldn't release who the source was. That's fine. That's very normal. A lot of people do that. You're not going to be disqualified. You will be disqualified if you leave the professor's name and the university name in your footnotes anywhere. What I recommend you do is Control F before you submit. Search the document, search your name, your university's name, your lecture's name, your course number, any other identifying information. So when I pulled up this paper, I actually did that, and I didn't even realize I had cited my professor's lecture. So Control F, search the whole document. And also that's what we're going to be doing when we're looking to see if your work is eligible to be sent to our judges. I'm just going to be Control F-ing, looking up your professor's name, looking up your university's name. So do all of that yourself. Save yourself being disqualified, because we don't send you an email and say, hey, you left this in, or we don't fix it for you. We don't have time to do that. We get so many entries. It's just an automatic disqualification. So don't do that. Save yourself. You want your work to be read by these professors. So make sure you take care of all of that before you submit. And then if you haven't already written an abstract, so I mentioned earlier, some subjects, they're not used to writing abstracts. Say for history, I wasn't used to writing abstracts. That's not something we do for our papers. But on this paper that I used as an example, the first paragraph, I always state my thesis in the first paragraph. It was within 250 to 500 words, and I always write my introductory paragraph to be something that encapsulates the entire paper. So that's usually a suitable abstract. You don't need to write a totally new abstract. This one fully covers everything that I want to address in the paper, fully encapsulates all my ideas. That's a fine abstract, no need to rewrite. And then also, before you submit, I would highlight the body of your paper and check the word count in Microsoft. Make sure that you are within 2,500 and 5,000 words. So I did that here. It's fine. I would also say, keep in mind, we're not going to count your bibliography in the word count. We're not going to count endnotes. Footnotes will be included. So if you're concerned about your footnotes taking up too much room, I would change your footnotes to endnotes. If not, you can keep your footnotes. It's really up to you. But like I said, what we're going to do is when we're checking to see if your paper meets the requirements, we're just going to highlight the body of your paper. And footnotes are included in that. And we don't have enough time to be saying like which footnotes count and which don't. So they're just included in the count. If you're concerned about them messing up the count, again, just move your footnotes to endnotes. We don't count endnotes. And then also, I just want to point out in this example, see, I've circled the word count, but also if you look up on the paper, you see Lind, Robert, home life in Ireland. And then below you see redacted citation for anonymity. So I took out my professor's name that I showed you on the last slide, and I redacted it like I advised that you should. Again, all of this is on our website. There's 25 categories. You can click into each category and see the different requirements. How long is the abstract? It's almost always 250 to 500 words. How many words can I have in the body of my entry? That differs by category. Can I do a group entry? Different word counts for different groups in different categories. It can differ. So really make sure you go look at our website on the How to Submit tab on our homepage. Find all that information. Make sure you're eligible to enter. And do all this before you submit. But if you are eligible and if you have work that you want to submit, anonymizing it, entering the abstract, I've done it with that paper that I just showed you, 10 minutes max. Just like I said, Control F, check the word count. That's pretty much it. And also entering is free. There's no cost to you. It's just taking those 10 minutes to submit, and that's it. And if you win and you're a global winner, your trip to Dublin is also free. So you really don't lose anything by entering. Just those 10 minutes. And most of our winners will tell you it's worth the 10 minutes because it can open up so many opportunities for you in the immediate future and in the long term. So I invite you all to go to our website immediately and enter for your chance to come to Dublin this next November. We would really love to see you there. And with that, I'm going to open the floor to more questions. I'm going to look at the Q&A. So I've answered the visa questions. Students who graduate in 2021 apply for this award. Not any longer, unfortunately. 2021 is no longer eligible. It's only if you graduated in 2023 or plan to graduate in 2024 or 2025. Where should you send your documents? You have a bachelor in electrical engineering. That's perfect. So we have a category for engineering, and you can submit if you go to, it's on the screen here, undergraduateawards.com, and right on our homepage, there's a button and it says, I think, submit today or enter today, register today. Click that and it'll take you straight to the portal where you can submit your work. And again, takes 10 minutes, takes no time at all. What's the rationale with excluding first? We don't exclude first. If you go to our website, like I said, we want grade A or equivalent work. So on our website, a first is equivalent to a grade A. So firsts are not excluded. Unless you mean first years. If you're a first year, that would be excluded just because we used to accept all 4 years, but that was way too many people. And we just found it was a lot of the people, not everyone, there's certainly people submitting quality work in their first year, but for the majority, it wasn't the case. So even if you've written something that's really good in your first year, you just have to wait until you're about to graduate, just because you might have something better by the time you graduate. And again, it's because we have 600 judges and 5,000 entries to read. We have to find some way to limit what they're reading. But if your question is first class honors, you can submit first class honors work. That's a grade A equivalent. If you graduated in 2017, once again, I'm sorry, that's outside of what we do. You're in your second year and you'll graduate in 2026. That means you're not eligible. It means you're not eligible yet. You will be eligible next year. So just keep that in mind. That's Mary. You will be eligible next year. That's all I can say. Unfortunately, like I said, it's just if you graduated for this year, it's just 2023, 2024, or 2025. But next year's program will include 2026. So hopefully we'll still be on your mind then because we would like to see your work. What category is there? Social sciences part. There's actually 2 categories for social sciences. There is social sciences, anthropology, and cultural studies. So if it's more anthropology related, that can go there. Or there's social sciences, sociology, and social policy. So that's for your social workers, your sociologists, etc. So if you're into social sciences, that's 2 parts. But then also there are some other categories that might be considered social sciences that aren't included in the 2 I just mentioned. There's psychology, that might be good. Education, some people do early childhood education, they include that there. Linguistics sometimes kind of has an overlap. There's a lot of places, depending on what you've written, it could go in 3 different categories. You just have to pick one. How would they know the winner if your research is anonymous? That's actually a good question. I should have been clear about that. So when you register on our website, it's a portal that we maintain, like it's a database we maintain. So you register, you give us your name, your email. The organization, me and Neve, we can see your name, we can see your entry, we can see your email address, your university. But our judges, they also register in the portal. They can read your entry, but they can't see your name or anything that you enter, like when you put it into the system. When you register on our platform, only Neve and I can see that. The judges, that's all redacted from their view. It's like a system that does it. We don't like block out your name or anything. So as long as your name is not in the body of the paper that you submit or any other identifying information, the judges can't see that. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, feel free to follow up in the chat. Someone said, unfortunately, I joined later. I would like to find out what academic papers are accepted from undergraduate students. So like I said, 25 categories. That's a lot of categories that should be able to accommodate most people. And then also there could be some overlap between categories. It's up to you to decide which category you think you would fit best in. But as long as you received a grade A and you meet the graduation year requirements, you received a grade A, and you meet the word count, any work that you did. So sometimes professors, they'll give you an A, and then sometimes they'll give you an A and they'll even say, like, this is really great. Would you like to talk about this with me at a conference or something? Sometimes professors will specifically tell you which papers really shine. If you're really lucky like that, that tells you straight away what sort of work you're going to be submitting. But if not, I would just say choose the work that you're most proud of. I finished college in 2020, and even to this day, I can name 2 papers off the top of my head. When I learned about this program and I got this job, I was like, I know exactly what papers I would have submitted. There are 2 papers that you just put your heart and soul into, that you think people want to read and are really original, then that's what you want to be submitting. What if I cite a specific lab technique only the lab I work at uses that I used in my work? How is that anonymized? So we get questions like this a lot that don't really make sense. That's nothing against you. That is a perfectly reasonable question. We can't really answer that because that's specific to your university. Basically, if you just mention a specific lab technique, I would say if it's common knowledge among the intellectual academic world that only your lab uses that, then sure, but I'm not a super STEMmy person, so I'm not sure if I'm right on this, but to my knowledge, I don't think that if you're from Australia, I don't think a professor in Toronto is going to be like, oh, she used this lab technique. I know exactly where she's from. That first of all, but then also like, if I Google the lab technique, I'm probably not going to be Googling lab techniques to try and find out where you went to school. If that's the case, the professors will flag it and then it'll get discarded, but it's up to your judgment. Do you think the professors reading your work are going to instantly know off the top of their head that that's what happened? I hope that makes sense. We get questions like that all the time that are really specific, and the most I can say is use your best judgment. Imagine you're a professor reading this work. Does it give your identity away? That's the best we can say. Talk about evaluation criterias. So that really depends on the category. We have different rubrics. I don't think the rubrics are made public, but each category has a rubric. Every judge has the rubric as they read the work. They have to look for different features, but general rule of thumb we talk about, they're looking for 2 things: academic rigor and an originality. So are you presenting something that is just groundbreaking in the field? And that happens a lot. We have students who engineer water purification systems that are not previously been in use. That's going to put them above someone who re-engineered or is just critiquing an existing system. They want to see something groundbreaking, something they haven't seen before, an idea they haven't considered. If you're a history student, maybe a perspective on a particular period that hasn't been considered. So really go for what's groundbreaking, and then also just something high quality. Don't go for typos. Make sure your sources are accurate. Make sure you're using high quality sources. Make sure your writing is high quality. All of that will matter. But really, I think the most important thing is the originality and how blown away are the judges going to be, which happens every year. I mean, of the 5,000 entries, there are dozens that professors are debating to nominate for awards because there's a lot of really good stuff coming through. So submit whatever you think is the most groundbreaking. Should I submit any proof that I got a grade A? So that's something new that we brought in this year. You need to submit some sort of proof you got a grade A. I know that can be tricky because we've had some issues with that. Again, if you have any questions, you can always email Neve. She gets a lot of emails every day. But proof of a grade A it's a new requirement, but we can be pretty lax. Maybe it's a signed statement from your professor. Maybe you have a screenshot on your online grading portal that you can submit. Something like that. I think that's the best we can do. Or maybe they just wrote on the top of the paper, grade A, take a picture of that. That's fine too. Only applicable to undergraduate students. Yes. Yes. What if I had exemplary performance on my secondary school canceled? I get scholarship. So if you're asking, you didn't go to university yet because you didn't have a scholarship and you want to submit work from secondary school, no, you cannot. It's only undergraduate work. You have to be enrolled full-time in an undergraduate course, unfortunately. Did you say coursework from all disciplines are accepted? I graduated from political science with a first-class degree in 2023. My research also made me an A. Can I submit? Yes, you can. That's a perfect example of someone who can submit. All disciplines are welcome. We have a category specifically for political science, so that's perfect. First-class degree, if you got an A, which you did, perfect. All sounds good to me. You don't even have to have a first-class degree, by the way. If you had second class, but you got an A on this paper, that's fine. But yeah, graduated in 2023, got an A, political science, perfect. No notes. Please submit. Okay, abstract, we'll also have to write in the same paper. We have to make 2 papers, like one about the abstract and a second paper about the research. No. So what you're going to do is when you register in our portal that I talked about earlier, there's going to be a box. So like box to put your name, box to put your university, box to put whatever. And then there's going to be a box where you write in your abstract. Like I said, I would just copy and paste that in either the abstract that you already wrote or just the first paragraph of your paper if you don't have an abstract. And then there will be a second thing where it's like upload a PDF version of your paper. So you don't have to write a second paper about the abstract. You're just pasting that into the little box in our system, and then you're uploading the document from your device for the main body of your paper, if that makes sense. What if it is not included in my coursework? How can we meet grade criteria for it? So if it's not included in your coursework and you never received a grade on it, you can't submit it. It can't be something that you wrote just for fun, unfortunately, or something that you wrote for another publication, because again, it can't be published before. So it has to be something that you submitted in class for school and that your professor graded and gave you an A on. What is the research about? Do we, for example, create our own topic? So hopefully that question is answered by your professor. Maybe your professor gave you an assignment and said, say for the paper I showed you, the assignment was research a topic, any topic from 20th century Britain. I chose a topic. So that was my prompt. For another class, like I said, I have other papers I would have submitted. I had a teacher say, you know, analyze genocide denial, pick any genocide. So then I picked the Armenian genocide and I broke down the genocide denial there. So, you know, things like that are perfect. Like your professor's already given you the prompt. And then if people want to know more about like what sort of work gets submitted, what sort of work wins, I would go to our website, go to our journal where we publish winners' work. You can read work from all of the past winners, and that should give you a good example of the quality, some of the topics that have been really popular. Like I just mentioned the topic of genocide, which is very grim, but that's been that's been something that more academics have been researching in recent years. They're very interested in the topic. So if you're in law or history, you have a lot of opportunities there. It really catches their attention because it's kind of a new field in the past 20 years. Hey, Caroline, I'm doing advanced diploma next year, 2025, and I would like to submit my research paper next year, 2025. Am I eligible? So you're actually eligible advanced diploma. Is that Irish? Or if that's an undergraduate diploma, then that's fine. If that's a master's diploma, no. If that's postgraduate, no. It has to be undergraduate. If an advanced diploma is an undergraduate diploma, you are eligible to submit this year and next year and the year after because you're graduating in 2025. But again, if you're not talking about an undergraduate degree, then that is not eligible. Can a student who has graduated from a university get a job in the same country? I'm not an expert on that, and that's not really what we're talking about, so I'm going to move on from that one.
Yeah, I think that's more for us. You can check out our website for things like working after visas and opportunities like that on the TAT website.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Grace. Because I don't know anything about that. But someone else says thank you. You're welcome, Aisha. And same person can a student no graduate. Oh, can a student who will graduate from a university with this award get a job in the country that they graduate? So do you mean like if you're from Australia and you win an award, can you get a job in Australia? Probably. I mean, we can't guarantee anything, but it will help you stand out. We always say it's a good line on the CV, whether you're looking to go to graduate school or you're looking to get a job. Having published work, being a known expert on the topic is always a good thing to have. Can you get a job in Ireland if you win? No, I wish you could. That would be really cool. That's something that we are working on, but as of right now, that's not something we have lined up definitively. Someone asked if we have a WhatsApp. I don't think we set up a business WhatsApp, Neve, did we? No? Okay.
Not
So
just yet. Will be coming.
Yeah, we are going to set up a WhatsApp for questions, but for right now, just email Neve. Again, that's info@undergraduateawards.com. You can also, we have Instagram, you can DM us there, we can answer your question. Is it mandatory to graduate from a foreign university? Well, given foreign has different meanings depending on what country you're in, everyone's a foreign university to someone. You can be from a foreign university or not, depending on what your definition is. You can be from any university in the world, as long as it's an undergraduate program. You can be from Ireland, you can be from Europe, you can be from Australia, you can be from, I mean, name a country. We don't embargo any country in this program. We do not have the political will or power to do that. So don't worry if that's your concern.
I think if you mean if you're an international student, so you could be from Australia studying in an Australian university and still enter the GUA. You don't have to be studying abroad to enter, if that's what you mean.
That is a good way to interpret it. Thank you, Grace. My brain is fried. I've been talking too long. So yeah, good call. What is the link for the UA journal, please? Neve, maybe you can pop that in the chat. Or if Neve, I don't know if you even have the power to do that from where you are, but if not, to answer that question, I would say go to undergraduateawards.com. And when you're on our homepage at the top right-hand corner, you'll see a link. It'll say UA journal, and that'll take
That's
you out of the website.
the library. No.
The library. Yes, sorry. It's called the UA library, and that's where the journal is. So click on that link and it should be there.
I'm adding it now for you guys.
Someone said, I'm from Africa, Cameroon. You are also eligible to submit as long as you meet all the other requirements. And I've answered all of the questions, so if no other questions pop up, I'll give it some time. But I'll just pop it back to Grace and Neve because I've been talking a lot. Anything else you want to say about the program? Obviously, we all think if you're eligible, please submit. It's a really great opportunity. We had so much fun at the summit, and so did the students. And we'd really love to have you there.
Yeah, as Caroline said, there's no negative to entering as long as you think that you're eligible. Worst case scenario, you don't end up in that top 7%, but best case scenario, you do. We had quite a lot of students at last year's summit, about to sneeze. No, I'm good. Who entered, and they honestly told me throughout the whole process that they just entered for fun. They never thought they were going to even get an email back. They thought maybe at most they'd get highly recommended. So the fact that they then won for their topic was a huge surprise to them. And it's a great kind of ego boost as well, especially if you're coming to graduation, you're trying to decide kind of next steps, whether you want to keep studying, whether you want to work. It's just a really nice way of kind of feeling confident about yourself. Why not? It's your work. You've put all that time and effort into it. Why not show it off, you know?
And I'm just real quick, Neve. There's a few more questions and I just want to make sure I answer everyone. So I'm just going to fly through these. What is the deadline for this year's submissions? So it's going to be early June. Please don't wait until then. Do it as soon as possible. That would help us a lot if you did that. And I don't have the date off the top of my head because we kind of are juggling. It's not definitive, but early June, definitely have it in by then. If I graduated, can I still be in it? Yes, you can if you graduated in 2023. That's the only time you could have graduated and still be eligible this year. Does it matter if your undergraduate research is particular to your country? Would such research be considered? Absolutely. So that is a concern people have had before. If your research relates to your home country, does that reduce the anonymity because like, oh, then they know what country you're from? Not necessarily, first of all. Some people do their research on a different country. I'm from America. I went to an American university. My research almost was entirely Irish. So that's not really an identifier all of the time. Some people live in one country and they go to another country to do research. And then also, even if you do your own country, I don't think it's a huge deal that you research your own country. We have winners who do that. This year's winner in engineering was from South Africa, and his project, he was the one who talked about water purification systems. He specifically was at a specific site in South Africa that he did all of this, and that was referenced throughout his research essay that he submitted. And that was okay. That didn't give away his anonymity because he never said like, I am South African and I am from this university in South Africa. So that was fine. What is the deadline? And also I'm graduating this year. Can I submit next year, 2025? Yes. So you can submit this year and you can also submit next year. That's a good question. And then also, what's the deadline? Like we said, early June, but please try and get it in sooner. Are we to write an exam? No. You do not have to do anything else other than just submit your work. So submit something you've already written, and then that's perfect. Few people have said thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. And then someone else, I graduated in 2022. Is there a master's program in this award? No. So you're not eligible anymore. And then, like I said, we only accept undergraduate work. So your master's work is not eligible. But there are there's so many programs for master's students all over the world. You're really not limited. For undergraduate students, this is, like we said, this is really rare. This is, 1 in a million opportunity for you at your level. And then now that I've answered all those, Neve, you can chime in with what you were going to say.
It's gone now. My brain's fried.
I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to answer everyone's questions.
Yeah, no, just that we really encourage you to submit. Like, there's no downsides, and you could end up having a really great opportunity come November.
Yep. And then I'm just gonna answer. If you have any more questions, you have a minute to submit them, and then I think we should close it off. Which visa are we going to receive? Again, we don't give you a visa. I want to be very clear about that. If you're a winning student, you do not just get a visa. You still have to apply for the visa yourself, and we will supply you with a letter to say that you've been invited to come to the summit. Most visas offices, most embassies will accept that as proof. They will give you a visa. Some people apply for a tourist visa, which allows them to come for maybe 3 months is the limit. And then some people, depending on what country you're from, it'll say like, you might have to apply for a conference visa, in which case the visa is only valid for the days of the summit, and you have to leave within 24 hours of it ending and arrive 24 hours before. So again, we don't give you a visa. We just give you what you need to apply for the visa, and everything up there from there is up to you to manage. Okay, and I don't think we have any more questions, so I think it's a good point to wrap it up.
Yep. If you do have any more questions, obviously you can email Neve at the address on the screen. If you have any questions for THE, you can also email us. The link was on the chat. And yeah, we just want to thank everyone for coming. Thank Neve and Caroline for telling us all about the GUA. And we hope we get lots of entries from all you guys.
Yep, submit today. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.